Want to be successful in business? Listen to Memphis Success, the voice of Memphis entrepreneurs. Be prepared to be challenged and inspired to dream big and take immediate action now.
And today's episode is sponsored by LAI Media, where they specialize in your company marketing, branding, website, and search engine optimization needs fitted to promote your company to the world. And right now, offering a 10% discount if you mention Memphis Success on your first project. Once again, their number is 901-210-9935. Now let's get into the show. Memphis Go-Getters, welcome to Memphis Success, the voice of Memphis entrepreneurs, where your success is Memphis Success. I'm your host, Darnell Reed. Today, I'm excited to have Dan Tupis with Memphis Laminating Company. Memphis Laminating Company is located right here in the heart of Memphis, Tennessee. It has been in business since 1984 and has a staff with more than 50 years combined experience in the laminating and printing finishing industry, where their motto is no job is too big or too small. I'm so thrilled to have Dan on the show. I've known him for a very long time. We go back to elementary school, and it's just amazing to see what he has going on right here at Memphis Laminating Company. So, Dan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, once again, I appreciate you even joining our show. I know you have tons of experience and information that you're going to share with the Memphis Go-Getters, and I know you have an awesome story to talk about. So with that being said, I always like to start off our interviews with asking, you know, since you're a Memphian, what's normally the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about Memphis and business?
Well, the first thing that would come to my mind when I think about Memphis is that it's home.
Okay.
Family is here. I love Memphis. I always try to tell people that aren't from Memphis how great of a city it is.
Right.
So I think we get a lot of bad rep and there's a lot of good here. I see a lot of progression right now, especially in business. I think that people are not afraid to start new stuff. Right. I think to me, Memphis is home, and I hope that, by people starting businesses and people like you and me, that we can make Memphis even a better place than it already is.
Well, hey, I definitely totally agree. I think when we hear more stories like yours that you're about to share, that, hey, that's going to inspire other people right here to get their business going or continue to grow the business that they're in. So with that being said, when someone meets you for the first time and say, hey, you're out networking or in a business event, and they say, well, Dan, what do you do? What do you normally say to them?
I normally say I own Memphis Laminating Company. We're a small business here in Memphis, Tennessee. We're a print finishing shop that specializes in thermal lamination of paper.
Okay. All right. Awesome. And so, I call this let's go back. Let's talk about the origin of when did you really decide to take that leap of faith and to become an entrepreneur. Man, I know you have an awesome story behind that. So if you can, just tell us what was going on in your life, and then how did you just become the owner of Memphis Laminating Company?
Well, I think the reason that I wanted to own the company is that, honestly, I was a little bored just working and, coming to work and having someone else make all the decisions. I think that I somehow naturally became the manager of Memphis Laminating Company, and that quickly transformed into office management, production management, shipping management. Mm-hmm. Got to the point where I was doing everything except cleaning toilets. Actually, I do clean toilets sometimes still. But really what made me want to become an owner, a business owner, was just being able to make decisions, being able to have myself to question if something were to go right or wrong. My wife also went through some illnesses that were scary, and so she was very sick for several years, and it was important for both of us that I be able to be available for her, that financially we'd be stable,
right,
and that I was able to be there for her. So my wife's a big part of why I wanted to become a business owner. She is also a business owner and really a true entrepreneur. She started a business at the age of 17 as a school project, and that was in 1994, and she still runs that business today.
Okay, wow. So I'm assuming that some of that just rub off on you, and you say, "Hey, okay."
Yeah. My wife and I both like to travel a lot as well, and I think I was maybe a little jealous at some point. She was traveling without me, so at any rate, I really do enjoy a challenge. I don't like to be bored. I don't like to sit still.
Right.
So I think, for me, being a business owner, a lot of being a business owner is solving problems.
Right.
I many times tell people I'm a firefighter.
You putting out fires.
Just put out fires, and do it gracefully, which I still work on, and I think a lot of business owners do. You can't let your emotions get a hold of you when something is going wrong.
Right. Now, one thing when we talked earlier that you were sharing with me is just, in the beginning, you started working here when you were in high school, and then how you just talked about how you were able to learn each facet of the business. And I guess in hindsight, I'm thinking, hey, you were being groomed actually to eventually become the owner here. So if you can just briefly talk about the little history with Memphis Laminating Company and then to now.
Well, yeah. So you've known me a long time. I work. I'm a worker.
Right.
Some people grew up in households where where things were given to them without batting an eye. My parents were not those people. They encouraged me to work and to work to have things I wanted. If I wanted a new pair of shoes, my dad would say, "Go wash the car, and we'll talk about it." So Memphis Laminating Company gave me an opportunity when I was very young, still in high school. And when I graduated high school, I was still working with Memphis Laminating Company as very part-time. And then during my college years is really when I started to travel and want to see the world. My dad encouraged me to do that because I think he missed out on that when he was young, and so it was important for me to try to see as much of our world as we could while I was young.
Right.
So when I started working here, I really I like a challenge. I like to learn. So when different jobs would come up, I didn't know how to operate the machine. The first thing I wanted to do was get in there, figure out how it worked. Something went wrong. I wanted to figure out how to fix it.
Right.
Then eventually we had a bookkeeper that was a great guy that left under very good terms. He was just ready to move on. And I said, you know what? I'd like to learn that end of it. I'd like to learn how the business works, how the finances work. And so I just kind of took it upon myself to sit behind the computer and learn QuickBooks all by myself, read books and make mistakes and fix those mistakes. And,
right.
And so by the time it got to the point where I may become an owner, which is definitely something I was working toward.
Okay.
I think from the early to mid 90s, I was ready. And then as time grew and also things with my wife being ill, it really pushed me toward that point where I was, I needed to learn as much as possible, and I was ready to do it.
Okay.
And I'm not afraid to work, and so I actually enjoy a little hard work here and there, and so I think the guys around me, the people that I hire and that work with me, I think that, that I respect them. They respect me. They see me work, and they just want to work too.
Right.
It's not. I don't come in and throw the hammer down.
You lead by example.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's cool. I mean, one of the things that I've noticed and definitely would take away, and I know Memphis Go-Getters, one lessons learned that I'm seeing is, when you could be working for somebody right now, but look into learning every facet of the business. Look for opportunities. I mean, just to understand how the machine works, understand how bookkeeping works. Seek out those opportunities. Truly understand the business. Don't just work there if you really have entrepreneurial aspirations, but look for ways so you can learn and grow. So when that opportunity comes for you or is available for you, then you're ready to take over the business, such as what Dan has done. So Dan, just to kind of move forward, I mean, as a lot of times as business owners get started, we're faced with a lot of challenges. So tell me a story of one of your biggest challenges or disappointments as an entrepreneur, and how were you able to overcome it and bounce back from it?
Well, I obviously took over an existing company that had been somewhat neglected by its former owner. So one of my biggest challenges, I would say, was fixing a broken business. I actually didn't know some of the problems that the business had until I started to sit down, have meetings with the lawyers and bankers, and figure out, can I own this company?
Okay.
And one of the problems was that we had a lot of tax debt.
Oh.
And I quickly learned that the local, state, and federal government is not a bank. They are unforgiving. And when you owe them money, they want it.
Right,
and they want it now.
Can't play walk of shame.
And so, as ugly as that sounds, that was a huge hurdle for Memphis Laminating Company. I truly believe that had I not stepped up to ownership, that the business may not still be around. We're celebrating 31 years in business.
Wow, 31 years, guys. Wow.
So I would say that finances was really my biggest hurdle, and very disappointing when I decided to make that leap, that was going to be my hurdle. I was hoping it would be poor machinery or bad employees or something that you can just fix quickly, that you can snap your fingers or throw some money at it. This was not a problem that was that easy. It involved lawyers and bankers. And
So I'm assuming with this tax debt or liability in place, you just had to kind of work with them on some type of schedule.
That's what we did. We did have a little bit of capital, not much. Capital is a huge part of running a business.
Exactly.
Not only running it, starting it is essential. And I really did feel like I was starting a business, even though it had been operating for decades, over a decade when I became owner. It felt like I was starting it because I needed that capital, and I needed to update machinery and update software. And this was an old school company. We were still invoicing people by hand.
Oh.
So it really was a challenge, and I was up to it.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome, and glad that you guys definitely have pulled out from it. And now, like you're saying, you're celebrating 31 years. So, hey, guys, every challenge can be overcome, as what they have done here at Memphis Laminating Company. Another word from our sponsor, LAI Media. They're offering a 10% discount if you mention Memphis Success. Their number is 210-9935. Now back to the show. So with that being said, and as the train drives by or goes by,
we are in an industrial neighborhood. Yeah, we are in Binghampton, Memphis, Tennessee.
Hey, we're in Binghampton, guys. So with that being said, the next area that I want to talk about is what I call that big shift moment in your business. So if you can, take us to that moment in time when you had experienced or learned something new that really helped shift your business to another level. So what was that aha moment for you?
Well, I think that we gained some new customers around 2008 or 9, and they were requesting some work that we did not have the proper machinery for. So machinery is expensive. It's a big step to spend several $100,000 on a machine when you're not sure what the future holds. But these new customers were very adamant that if you buy the machine, we're going to give you our business. And so we took that step, and we didn't have the cash at that time to take that step. So it was a risk. But at doing that, taking that risk, jumping in the pool, not knowing how deep it is, kind of was a huge moment for Memphis Laminating. Our sales almost doubled.
Wow.
Between 2007 and 2009.
Because of having the new equipment and
because
new
right,
product.
And so we learned to operate the equipment, and we learned that it's fast, and that it produces a really good quality product in the end, and so we start selling that.
Okay.
We start selling that to our existing customers as well as new. That hey, you're going somewhere else. I think that's a good piece of advice, too, for people starting businesses. Don't let your customers go somewhere else.
Right.
We're all in this together, and I enjoy competition, but I want your business.
Right.
So I think that was really a big moment for the company, was just realizing that we could be not only sustainable, but profitable.
Okay.
The idea is to keep the business going,
right?
But you don't want to just drag your feet. You want to be able to pay your employees well, keep them happy. You want to be able to improve whether you're in a business that takes computers or machinery or a building. You want to be able to make improvements on those things. So yeah, that was a really big moment for us, and the machine that we purchased back then is still operating and still a big part of why we continue to be profitable.
Okay, well, that's awesome. That's awesome right there, because you do, while you're in business, Memphis Go-Getters, you have to continue to reinvest and continue to buy equipment, at the right time, but you may have to buy some equipment that will allow you to get more customers, allow you to be more cost efficient, reduce your cost per unit, so you can have a higher margin on your product and your service. And then also one takeaway for me is that now you're able to sell that you have this equipment, and I'm assuming it improves productivity and speed, with the customers wanting to hear.
Right. And we're in a very high demand industry. The print industry is a high demand industry with lots of deadlines.
Right.
Most of my customer base, the first thing that they want to know when they get a price quote is not how much does it cost, when can I have it back?
Right. Well, that's awesome. So next, I want to talk about what is currently going on in your business. So today, I know you got a lot of things going on. You have this amazing shop here with all this equipment, but what is the one thing that you're most excited about today in your business?
Well, I think there is a huge potential for online retail sales. Retail is something that's quite foreign to me. We are a wholesaler, and I don't deal with individuals very much. I normally deal with corporations and companies.
Right.
But there is a lot of potential for retail sales in my industry.
Okay.
There are small laminating machines that you can buy and put in your home. Right. And when your child brings home a piece of art from school, you can laminate that and keep it forever.
Right.
You have an article in the newspaper that you like, you can laminate it. And these machines and the supplies are fairly inexpensive, and there's other people selling them. And like I said before, if people are out there buying them, then maybe I should have a presence on the internet.
Right. Because
we're a wholesaler and we deal with large quantities of our jobs are usually large quantity, thousands of pieces. The internet sales kind of gets thrown to the back because we are busy. We're busy, luckily. And so that's something that I'm excited about. The ball is rolling that hopefully we can get a online store up this year, before the end of the year, and start trying to sell to the general public, not only wholesaling, but just to have an online presence, that's nationwide, worldwide,
Right. No, I definitely think there's definitely an awesome move there to start trying to reach more out into that retail market and one-on-one with customers. And obviously, online is definitely the way to go with several businesses that are out there who may just traditionally have worked with corporations. So with that being said, we think long-term a lot of times as business owners. So what do you see as your long-term vision for Memphis Laminating Company?
Well, more sales.
Right.
I think that goes without saying. That's always my goal. We talked earlier about that this is a small business. We are as mom and pop as you can get. I have my employees that work here. I think of them more as coworkers. We work side by side. They've become very good friends. We feel like a family. So really my long-term goal is to not only have more sales, to grow, to change with the industry, which changes quickly. The print industry has gone from an offset printer that takes a warehouse-sized building to a copy machine-size printer that's putting out the same quality and the same amount of work. So, to change with the industry, to be profitable, to have employees that want to come to work and that enjoy coming to work, those are all things that I would like to not only see happen, continue, throughout the years. So that's really my main goal is for the next, say, 5 to 10 years even, would be to just stay current, to not fall back. It's very easy to get comfortable, to get in a groove.
Be complacent.
Right. And I don't want to do that. And I've been known, we've all done it.
Right.
You get comfortable, you got a little money in the bank, but you can't do that for long because somebody is going to come up and do that thing that you should have done.
Right.
And, you want to try to be ahead of the curve.
So what thing helps you stay out of that complacency? Well,
there's industry conventions. Okay. I think that any business owner, if you're if you sell candy, you should go to the candy convention.
Right.
If you, if you sell hardwood, you better go to the lumber convention.
Right.
These things are really important. Every time I go to a print convention or a print industry convention, I learned something that I didn't know. Every time. It's amazing. People are very inventive.
Right.
We come up with stuff that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but it's good to know that the things that are out there. So I think that that's really important to not only to go to and meet with people in your industry and see what they're doing, what directions they're moving in, to make sure that your machinery and your and your supplies meet their demands. You want to be able to say yes when someone asks, "Can you do this or that?" I had a older gentleman that has been a business owner for 50, 60 years, long time ago when I was in my 20s, tell me, don't tell a customer no. Even if you can't do it.
Okay.
Come up with something else. Something other than no.
Okay.
Let me get back to you on that.
Or offer them something else.
Right. So, and in order to not say no, you need to be on top of your business. You got to know what people need. And sometimes customers don't know what they want.
Right.
They have an idea of what they want. You, as the business owner or as the salesperson or whatever your position may be, you got to be able to tell them without batting an eye what's going to help them move forward.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Memphis Go-Getters. Wow. That's a lot of powerful advice and tips there. You don't want to be complacent, and the only way, or one of the ways that you can remove that complacency is to go to your industry's convention or industry articles, go to conventions, partner up with other people in your industry. You want to stay on top of your game. You want to know what's going on with your industry that you're in. So with that being said, Dan, I call this our lightning round of questions. And so just to go ahead and kick it off, was there anything holding you back from being an entrepreneur?
I would say really the only thing honestly, the only thing holding me back was capital.
Okay.
Once I got that part figured out, it was full steam ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah, money is always a challenge. And I always say, when I started my business with my partner, we decided to both tuck away $100 a month, he and I. And so, over a couple of years, hey, we had, some thousands saved up to be able to invest that money. So, hey, guys, if you're having capital problems, just make a commitment to yourself to decide to put up some type of money for your business. So, once you have a certain amount saved up, you're ready to go ahead and invest it. So, with that being said, what has been the best advice you have ever received?
I think the best advice came from a business owner, and he basically said, lead by example. Don't just sit behind a desk and point your finger at people and tell them what to do.
Okay.
Get out there and work. Let them see that you know what you're doing, that you're not afraid to get dirty and work with them.
Okay.
I think that's really important. To just to be out there and be with your employees. This same gentleman also gave me a great piece of advice, and that was on having employees and being a leader. And that's to, when people make mistakes, which we do as human beings many times,
right?
Don't call an employee out in front of other employees. I think that's a really good piece of advice. When I was younger, I worked in the restaurant industry, and I saw a lot of that, people being called out by their superiors in front of everyone. And I think that's very demeaning. I think that employees want to work hard for people that respect them. And I think that's a big deal. And that was something that I really took to heart when he told me that. I think that he had experiences when he was young as well that showed him that's an important thing to not make your employees feel that that they've disappointed the whole team.
Right. Wow. That's definitely great advice on leadership, on, just management of your team. So that's definitely powerful right there. Thanks for that, for sharing that. Now, what do you read, watch, or listen to that keeps you inspired and motivated?
I am a huge music fan.
Okay.
I listen to music all the time. There's music at my house right now. I'm not even there. My dogs are listening to it. So it's hard for me to pinpoint one thing or another. music to me is very inspirational. It can make you happy, sad, motivated. So that's a tough question for me. I'm a huge music fan.
Okay.
And so we have music playing in the shop while we work, and we have music in the office. And I think the employees and the customers that come in, I think I see them bobbing their head and feeling good and smiling.
Hey.
So I think music is also growing up in Memphis, right? I mean, how can you not be a music fan? I mean, we're in one of the greatest music cities on earth, and 7 nights a week I could go see a legendary blues guy or a rock band or a rap artist or a country star. The choices of music are endless. So it's a tough question for me to answer, but music in general.
Well, no, it's good. I mean, yeah, music can inspire, motivate you. I mean, it plays into all the emotions. So I can definitely agree I can definitely understand that. Now, is there a certain, now this is more around productivity. So is there a certain online website or app or a tool that helps you be more productive?
Well, I mentioned before, I think, obviously QuickBooks, which it seems arbitrary. Most business people are going to have at least heard of QuickBooks if they don't use it. I taught myself QuickBooks many, many years ago, 15, 20 years ago. So that's a piece of software that I can't live without at this point.
Okay.
Online banking, I think, is really important too. I think keeping track of your cash flow. Used to be you could only keep track of your cash flow once a month. Now you can keep track of it every 2 seconds if you'd like. So yeah, those things. There are a lot of online resources as far as business goes, but I think that banking, finances, QuickBooks, those are things I can't live without.
Okay, awesome. Now, is there a book you would recommend to our Memphis Go-Getters that you may have read or heard? Or
yeah, there's a book by a man named Muhammad Yunus, and Muhammad Yunus won the Nobel Peace Prize several years ago. He created a bank in Bangladesh called the Garmin Bank. The book that he wrote is called Banker to the Poor. And if these stories don't inspire someone to go for their dreams, to do what they want to do, I don't think anything will. The stories in this book are about people who are living in true poverty, not poor people, but people who not sure if they're going to eat the next day.
Wow.
And all they want to do is build something so that they can sell it, so that they can feed their families. And in countries like Bangladesh or Haiti, these countries that are extremely poor countries, it's impossible for these people who are very talented, very motivated, to get capital. And so what Muhammad Yunus did was create a system called microloaning that would be available to everyone, regardless of who you are, where you live, how poor or rich or whatever you are. That if you had an idea and you were motivated, that you could start something.
Okay.
And it's amazing. He is responsible for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of entrepreneurs. And wow. We're talking everything from farming to industry, big industry.
So it's called Banker to the Poor.
Banker to the Poor.
And I'm sorry, what's the author's name again?
Muhammad Yunus.
So Memphis Go-Getters, if you go to memphissuccess.com, look for Dan Tupis or Memphis Laminating Company. I will have show notes where we'll have a link to that book there. So we'll definitely have it there. Go to the website and check it out. I want to try to read it. I am going to read it myself. I mean, that is powerful. Just imagine your one idea impacting so many lives and changing so many lives. So that's an amazing book, and I never heard about it, so I'm definitely gonna check it out myself. So, what is your favorite success quote that you may live by or you've heard?
Success quote. Learn from your mistakes.
All right.
Learn from your mistakes. It's really that simple. Don't be afraid of your mistakes. Don't let them get you down.
Okay, cool. Now, I call this one of my tougher questions.
This one was tough.
So if you had $100 to spend to be a successful entrepreneur, and if you could do it over again, how would you invest this money into these 4 areas? 1 area is leadership. 2 is hustle. 3 is education. And 4 is networking. So how would you invest your $100 so you could become the best entrepreneur out there?
So yeah, that's a tough one. I think I'm going to take this more of the business is already going because it's been so long. It's hard for me to think about what would I do with that to start the business, but to keep the business going. Yeah.
Okay. So you're a current business owner, right? So
So you're a current business owner and you've got $100. So for leadership, I think I'm a firm believer that if you work hard, you should have fun.
Okay.
And so maybe take your crew out to putt-putt. Tell them to bring their kids and their wives or husbands.
Right.
Maybe just have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty simple.
Right.
Right. I like putt-putt.
How much you putting on that?
Right. So hustle. Make sure that you buy the right equipment. $100 is not going to buy you much, but you'd be surprised what it can buy you. So I think, spend that money on production, that whatever your industry is, that you can produce things quickly. Mm-hmm. Education, I think, go to a seminar, go to a webinar, go to a convention. Buy a book, read, So
they say, readers are leaders.
That's right. That's readers. Right. I think people are forgetting to read.
Okay.
It's you learned to do it when you were younger. It's still fun today. I promise. I promise. Read. Networking, man. For me, networking is all about put some gas in your car and go out there. And face to face with people. I think people are getting away from that way too much.
Yeah, I think with social media, people are just so easy just to either email or hit somebody up on Facebook. But I still believe it's more powerful when you can sit down, have that one-on-one conversation. I think it still goes a long way.
I agree wholeheartedly. So I'd throw that $100 in my gas tank.
So you're gonna put the so let me ask you this. Yeah. So you have the $100. Now, you can only, you got to split it up some kind of way. I'm not going to let you off on this. So, the whole goal behind this question is really for those entrepreneurs, as you're saying, and we can use the example of someone who's currently in business. And if you were talking to somebody currently in business, what would you tell them that, hey, if I was in your shoes, this is where I would spend majority of my time? So the $100 really is to represent time.
No, I understand, yeah. Again, I think, we touched on that with networking. I think, really.
Oh, you can put the whole 100 in networking?
Well, I don't know if I would put the whole 100. It's hard to say. I think that letting people know, networking is part of marketing. It's part of advertisement. Sell yourself, leadership is a huge part of it. If your employees don't want to follow you, then you're going to have a real hard time. So keep your employees happy. There is a minimum wage. Don't pay people a minimum wage. It's not enough.
Right.
So make sure that your employees are happy. I think that's huge. Make sure your employees are happy. Make sure that your customers know you. that they know you personally, not that they just know the company name and, having good employees and networking face-to-face with people. I think that's, to me, those would be the most important things, even when you're first starting or if you're currently running a business.
Okay, awesome. Well, hey, Dan, you shared a lot of valuable tips and information. I'm taking away a lot of things that I know I'm going to implement in my own business. And I know Memphis Go-Getters, I know you're seeing some value just out of this interview here. So with this being said, one of our last questions is, what does Memphis success mean to you?
Well, I think success in general, to me, means being happy in your own skin. You can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm happy with who I am today, and I'm going to try to be happy tomorrow with who I am as well. I think that's success to me. I think, having family and friends around you that and showing them love. I think that if you can be happy and content, that will translate into business success. As far as Memphis success, I think Memphis is on the move. I think it's a city on the move. There's a lot of positive changes going on in the city. Right. So get out there and be part of it, If you don't have money, volunteer. If you have money, donate. Right. If you see something, someone, some organization that's having challenges and you feel like you can help, don't just think about it, do it. So, I think being successful in Memphis, that if you can give back to the community, give back to the city, give them something positive, give the city something positive. We talked earlier about employing people. Right. That's a big part of it. Be an employer and be someone people want to work for. Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that is definitely success where we can definitely turn around and help our community. I believe through entrepreneurship is at least one avenue. But I love where you said, just don't think about it. Go take some action, man.
Yeah.
Donate, give your time. All those things are very valuable, and we can definitely help continue Memphis to be a successful city as we know that it can be. So with that being said, Dan, I appreciate your time and all the things that you've shared with us. But here, one last time, is there any last words of advice, as well as how can you share with the Memphis Go-Getters how they can learn more about your business?
Well, just my last piece of advice for someone starting out is, if you've got a good idea, they're not all good, but if you got a good idea, even if you got an idea that you're not sure is good, talk to people that own businesses. See how do I get this thing off the ground and going? Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be scared. Everybody's going to make mistakes.
Right.
We're born scared of making mistakes. I think you can learn to not be. And so I think that would be my last piece of advice, really, is go for it.
Okay.
Memphis Laminating Company has been around for 31 years. We are located on Broad Avenue. We talked about the city moving forward. Broad Avenue is a very good example of, and Binghampton in general is a very good example of Memphis moving forward. This is a neighborhood that you may not have brought your wife to have dinner 10 years ago. Right. This is an area that has really stepped up. There's a lot of faith-based giving. There's a lot of corporate dollars being put into the area. So it's an area that's really growing. So come down Broad Avenue and check it out. If you'd like to learn more about Memphis Laminating Company, we do have a website, www.memlam.com. We are a print finishing company that services the print industry. We do also offer services to individuals, and we are a wholesaler. So we can save you money on those little projects.
All right, well, that's awesome. Once again, Memphis Go-Getters, that was Dan Tupis with Memphis Laminating Company. I appreciate his time and just all of the key nuggets that he shared with us today. Memphis Go-Getters, once again, go to memphissuccess.com. Look for Memphis Laminating Company or Dan Tupis, and we'll have all of the show notes to some of the books and software that he recommended and shared with you. Also, Memphis Go-Getters, remember to sign up, become a Memphis Go-Getter, get all the latest, greatest updates on interviews, tips, and tools that we will be sharing with you guys. And as always, dream big, take action, and make money!
Thank you for listening to Memphis Success, the voice of Memphis entrepreneurs. Sign up now at memphissuccess.com to become a Memphis Go-Getter and receive all the latest information and free gifts. Because your success is Memphis Success.